So we're going to pull the tank and flush and clean it on an icebear champion. Mark your reserve line, which the more I think about it, the less it matters, because you'll be able to see it. Oh, those lines are on there good. Pull your lines off, save your clamps. Okay, you're done down here. Everything else, you come up here. 8mm for the battery box. $10mm for the gas tank cover. Sometimes, ooh, that's all buggered up. Try to keep them somewhat orientated. And it is a 12 to pull your seat, which just makes it all easier to get to. Come on to the shifter side. Move your battery bolt. Switch back to a 10. Pull the gas tank cover. Don't lose the lock washer. Okay. You're done loosening everything. Come up here. Take the gas cap off. Give it a little wiggle. Pop off the tank cover, battery cover, set it to the side. Cap back on. Look right in here so you can see where your wires are going, where everything's mounted. And I prefer to unplug it just because it gives you a little more room to work with. Oh, missed one. Another 8mm with a ground underneath it. Oh, that could have been bad. Don't drop that. Battery box comes out. The CDI box. Find your plug. Unplug it. Set it aside. And try to get all your wires as much as possible out of the way, because this tank has to come back and it's large. So everything's loose, everything's disconnected. Come down here with your lines. You're going to start wiggling this tank out and pushing your lines back. They're stiff enough, you should be able to use them. Wow! Sorry guys, it'll never be that easy for you. I can't believe that just came out that easy. Anyway, so that's out. While we're still here at the table, we're going to take these clamps off. Good Lord. Clamp off. And I'm replacing the fuel line, so I don't really care, but clamp off, pull it off, keep it on its side. Pause. So we're going to flush it with vinegar first. Some nuts and bolts. I took some of my new fuel line. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Good. So I just took 2 new pieces of fuel line, a little bit of clear epoxy or clear silicone, whatever kind of sealer you have, and a bolt that fits. And zip tie them on the bottom so they're nice and tight. or so they don't want to go on at all. So get rid of the zip tie, slide it back on, and grab a new zip tie. Tighten it as much as you can. And do it on both. So both are sealed the best they can be. And this isn't permanent, it's just throwaway to keep stuff from leaking out. That's why we're using zip ties. Hose clamps will be better, but they take longer. And you can't throw them away. So we're sealed. I'm going to sit mine in a vise. It'll hold. Take my cap off. Cap's clean. Vinegar. I've already used this once. But I filtered it through a shirt. See how dirty it is down in there? So, fill it up enough before you waste any. Plug it up, pick it up, check to make sure it's not leaking. Not enough to worry about. It will later. At least for me. I'm gonna, after we flush, I'm gonna use muriatic acid. But I would recommend all the new people just use vinegar. Put some nuts and bolts in it to help agitate any of the rust that's in there. And this was 2 quarts of just cheap dollar store vinegar. And just some clean nuts. I'm just going to put them all in there. Put the cap back on. And it's not leaking, so you just kind of shake it, agitate it. Pause. Go. So, it's been about 3 minutes of just shaking and agitating. So now I'm going to pop it open and just dump it out into a bucket. So you guys can see all the chunks that come out. From just a little bit of shaking. And by no means was it clean vinegar to start with, but there were no chunks like that. Just put your cap back on. And just make music. Okay. And then you look down in there. See that the back one, the back is the reserve, so it's the lowest point. So we're going to pop it off. You know, I did this off camera on my first bike. It was no issues. Pop it off, and that'll help get some more out and drain it out. We have nuts and bolts in here. There's a slight lip, so it's kind of a pain to get them out. It's always good to have a little magnet. It makes everything a little easier. You guys aren't going to be able to see, but I'm going to take the flashlight over here and the magnet. And look how bad those nuts already look from maybe 5 minutes. I'm not going to reuse those. One more in there floating around somewhere. Okay. Nothing but liquid left. So, for the newer people, I would recommend doing that. Filling it with the vinegar. About 2 quarts is not enough. I would recommend 4 quarts, which is almost a gallon, or it is a gallon. And that'll fill it up almost all the way to the very tippy top. And just put random nuts in there, shake it around, leave it for at least 2 days. Check it anytime you think about it and shake it. Just keep it agitated pretty much. And you can make these little things. And then when you're done, did you pause it? Oh. And then empty it all out into something, not your yard. And flush it with a little bit of gas. Just put some in there, do the same process after you've gotten all the vinegar and the nuts out, shake it around. And I'm gonna coat my tank because I don't want any problems later. It's not the cheapest stuff, but it's the best. I've used it on a lot of motorcycle tanks, Jeep tanks, car tanks. It lasts. Done. So vinegar and nuts and bolts is going to be the best for the newer people that don't want to mess with muriatic acid. Vinegar is going to take about 2 days. Muriatic acid will be done in 30 minutes. Let it dry, wash it out, and then I'm going to use the red coat in there, and I'll let that dry for a full 12 hours. So we're going to add some muriatic acid now. I'm going to see down in there first. Okay. So it's cleaner. There isn't a buildup of rust, but it's not clean. And you can see it going in clear, right? We can already see it reacting to the rust. And I don't want to ruin the seal on the tank up here. Just put a rubber gasket. Probably get a new one, but we're just going to move it around slowly. You can pause. So you can see that it's eating away everything. All the nastiness in that tank.
Yeah, it's about to eat away that whole fucking glove. What the fuck? Oh, I'm sorry.
Cool. That's my wife. She's filming. Just so you guys know.
Why are you flinging that around?
So, I'm going to go ahead and dump some of it out here. Back into the proper container. We're ventilating.
Don't touch your face, Jordan. Oh my lord.
Just get every bit we can out. And you saw it going in clear. That wasn't even 5 minutes. Okay. Slide that back on. Put my cat back on the muriatic acid. My funnel. It was clear when it went in. Now it's not clear. So I'm putting these back on. We're gonna go over to the hose and hose this out. Pause. Wash it out with water. Oh, absolutely. Here, come look inside. Use perfectly clean. So now we're going to pull the plugs off. You're done with those. So I'm going to sit it upside down. I'm going to put a blow dryer on it. I'm actually going to use a heat gun because I don't have a blow dryer. But I'm going to put a wiring heat gun on it, allow it to dry fully, and then I'm going to do red coat. Hope it helps.